This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, before we start, everybody has got the SAP 2021 version logon details, right? And you're able to add the connection details like this. Everybody added this on your system?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. 2021. So we can
Okay,
only use 2021, right, sir? Not 1909.
No, because I will be showing all this setup in 2021. You also practice only in
Okay.
2021.
Right. Okay.
Okay, because if you practice in 1909, whatever I configure will be in 2021. You will not be able to refer what I am doing. If you are getting any errors, it's easy for you to verify if you are practicing in the same server.
Same, sir. Yes. Okay.
Okay,
Can
so
you
this you
share
need to
some?
add. You should also add 3 more connections like development, quality, production. This is nothing, just add another connection, put the same details, but in the description you put some name like any company that you are creating. Let's say if you are going to practice a company code as BMW, I will put BMW development, something like this. Let me replace this. I'll go to here instead of ABC, just go here. In the change connection, replace ABC with BMW, so that this will be BMW development and this will be your BMW quality. The rest, everything is the same. Whatever the config that you have for 2021, put the same thing, just that you are updating description to make sure that you get a practical feel that you are working in a practical environment.
Sir, I have a doubt here.
Clear, right?
Hello? Sir, can you hear me?
Hello, Ajay, sir. Hello.
Yes.
Sir, can you set some guidelines that how we should go in in a real-time project basis? Means naming convention and how many company codes we have to create and how many posting period variant, fiscal year variant.
That I will be
Whatever we have
writing.
followed in.
That
Yes.
we will be writing because we are yet to start our BMW configuration. Once we start it, I will
Okay.
write all those in the KDS document. Based on that document,
KDS.
we will start the config.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Okay, so that I will list
According
out
to
everything.
KDS. Okay. According to KDS, we have to follow that KDS rule, right? Whatever the naming convention is there. Okay,
Correct.
sir.
Sir, you are
Sir,
given
I have a
ID
doubt here.
to 50. Sir, if like I log in with 01 ID and password is same for all, I do some configuration. Some other person logins with that ID and password. Would there be overlapping of configuration or any changes he makes?
No, it is like, let me write here. One sec. Let's say when you're doing configuration, so this is nothing but table maintenance. When you do configurations, we are simply maintaining the database table in the backend. Now, table maintenance is strictly by one user at a time. When we're talking about table maintenance, it is strictly by one user at a time. Let's say I am creating or I am accessing a transaction code called OX02. If I'm trying to access OX02 transaction code, let's say this is accessed by user AJ01. As long as user is inside this screen OX01, no user in this client can access or can modify the OX02 screen. If you want to modify, or if user AJ02 wants to work on OX02, AJ01 must come out of the screen. So two users cannot configure at a time the same setting. You can configure the other points, but the same table, which means same transaction, cannot be accessed by two users at a time. This is not applicable for the transaction posting. This is applicable only for the configurations. The same thing is applicable
Sir, what
even
if
when you are in the real environment.
sir, what if I use with user ID AJ01, after I use for 1 hour I log out, and if some other user with same AJ01 comes and does some amendments or some other changes, will it be affected?
No, it will not affect. What you are doing, it is going to affect what setting you are doing. So whatever the user ID that you are using does not make any difference. You can work with any user ID, but make sure whatever the settings that you are doing, list out in an Excel sheet or in a piece of paper, like whatever the company code you are configuring, what parameters you are writing, everything you list out in an Excel sheet, so that you will have a clear understanding. User ID, TR number, whatever is coming, just ignore it. Any user ID is available, you can pick any ID, start your configuration. Do not focus on user ID, do not focus on TR number. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Pick any user ID, whatever the TR comes, just to save it, save in whatever the TR comes. Do not get confused that my previous settings I saved in XTR, now XTR is not visible. I want to save the same TR. Ignore all these points. In the practice environment, whatever the user ID is available with you, use that user ID. Whatever the TR is coming, do it in the same TR. Whatever the TR comes, don't focus on it. Just press enter when you get a prompt. I'll explain you how you are going to work on the TRs in a dedicated session. But for the practice environment, these points you are not supposed to get confused with. Okay, your focus is only on the configuration, and make a note of what settings you are making and what are the identification codes that you are updating. Your focus is only on the requirement, not on the user ID, not on the TR number. Clear? Next one. So remember that whenever you are working on this, now this is a dedicated client for us. Whenever you get any locked entry screens, majoritarily you will get from AJ01 to AJ50 only, because as you understand, only one user can create one setting at a time. The same setting, two users cannot create. This is common even in real environment, because in the real environment you will be the only one FICO consultant doing the configuration. You don't get these points, these errors. Since during the practice multiple users are practicing in the same server with the same screen at a time, that is where conflict comes. Either you need to wait for 1 or 2 minutes, or go to SM12, close that particular user session. When you are closing, don't select all and then delete. Try to see which table you are modifying. The same table you try to delete from SM12. Okay, now I hope you all understand how to log into SAP, right? You just need to come here, select your this one, double click on it. Client number, by default it is 400. This 400 is a shared client of this server. Now what we will be using is 800. 800 is a dedicated client for us. Okay, you need to manually change from 400 to 800. They'll do something to default it to 800, but as of now you need to manually update client number 400 to 800. After that, put user ID from AJ012 till AJ50. There are 50 users. You can use any ID. For everything it is the same password, capital A JAY SAP FICO 1. Please do not change the passwords. And if any password is not working, if any user says it is locked, let me know so that I will get it unlocked. Correct? Password is case sensitive, and it has got a password policy. Even when you are working in the real environment, you will have to set up a password in the similar way. One capital letter, one numeric, one special character like this, there will be a password policy. In the similar approach, you have to create your password. And when you put the password, when you hit enter, you will be able to log in here. When you log in here, if you are not able to find easy access, you will find different options here. Here you click on user menu and you will have another option, SAP menu. You will find business workplace and you will find favorites. If you wanted to see the SAP standard menu, you need to click on this one, SAP menu. This is first time when you click it, next time automatically the same SAP menu will come. In short, this is the end user area wherein you will be able to create transaction. Is my voice clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir. Clear.
All right. So if somebody is not able to hear, just maybe try to rejoin. Now this SAP Easy Access is your end user area. Using SAP Easy Access, we will be able to create master records, transaction data, and you will be able to generate reports. Master data, transaction data, reports are executed from SAP Easy Access. Okay, and whenever you get this kind of a message, this is because somebody has logged in and they clicked on close the terminate session. So this you do not do it. Whenever you get this kind of message, let's say if I try to log in again, AJ01, so this 800. When I get this message, whenever you get this pop-up, this represents that some user had logged in with this ID. So you do not click on continue. What you do, click on terminate session, log in with some other ID. If you click on continue, the other user, whatever they are practicing, will get closed. If you get this terminate login, this ID will not be logged in. The other person is not affected. Click on terminate session, use another ID. So don't go by the ID. Last settings were done in AJ01. Next setting also AJ01. Ignore that point. You can configure your settings from any ID because it is the same client. So you will find all the settings whatever you have done in the system with whatever the ID that you log in with. Right? So let me log in with my ID.
Sir, how many user IDs are there?
50.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, at any given point of time, 50 members will not practice. That is impossible that 50 members will practice at the same time. So just make sure, it takes a couple of days for us to understand that you are getting this pop-up, that you'll have to log in with the other ID. But you need to keep in your mind that you can log in with any ID, you can continue your configuration from any ID. This confusion comes if you are under an impression that the same ID you have to do your configuration. That is not the requirement. Ignore the user ID that you are using, ignore the TR where you are saving your settings. Am I clear? I'll explain you in detail how you are going to do the configurations, what is the naming convention for your TR, everything I will explain in a separate session, which is nothing but your system landscape, TR movement we will understand in detail. There you will have a detailed understanding about these points. For now, when you practice, make sure you can use with any ID, you can save your TR, you can save your settings in any TR. Don't focus on them. If you are focusing on them, you are deviating from the key point. You're deviating from the main objective. So your focus is not on this user ID, on the TR number. Now this is your easy access. As I said, easy access is the end user area. Here you can do 3 activities. You can create the master records, you can create transactions, you can generate reports from here. Now in this easy access, you have to go to SAP menu. If SAP menu is not appearing, you have to go to this icon, SAP menu. Here you will get different options here. Everything is called as a node, NODE node. From this node, as a FICO consultant, you are responsible for accounting. In this list, as a FICO consultant, you are responsible for accounting. Let me open this accounting. Open this arrow mark to expand this. If you open the accounting, you will find a different sub-modules here. As a functional consultant, as a FICO consultant. Remember, as a FICO consultant, we are also called as functional consultant. When you talk about functional consultant, you may be related to any functional module. SAP FICO is one of the functional modules in SAP. Now, as a FICO consultant, you will be working on two areas majoritarily. One is your FI, which is nothing but financial accounting. In SAP FICO, SAP FI represents financial accounting, which is this. Second one is your controlling. And whenever you're not able to remember any transaction code, you forgot any T code, don't Google the transaction codes. Open SAP Easy Access, come to accounting. If you are trying to record any transaction or any master, any report related to FI or accounting, open accounting, go to financial accounting. If you expand financial accounting, you will find different options here. You have general ledger accounting, which is nothing but GL module. You have accounts receivable, which is nothing but AR. Next one, accounts payable, AP. This is your contract accounts receivable payable. This is a different submodule in SAP FICO, which is represented as FICA, FICA. FICO is different, which we are learning. FICA is different, contract accounts payable, contract accounts receivable. And this one is your bank accounting. This is your fixed asset accounting. The other ones we will not be working with. Similarly, if I open controlling, inside the controlling you have different options. You have cost element accounting, you have cost center accounting, internal orders, activity based costing, product cost controlling, profitability analysis, profit center accounting. These areas are related to controlling and these areas are related to accounting, which means first you need to understand what components are there in FI, what components are there in CO, and with what components you are going to work. If you take FI, you will be working with the GL, you will be working with the AR, AP, bank accounting, and fixed asset. This contract related, we will not be working. Special purpose ledger, additional functions, country specific, we will not be working. Similarly, in the controlling, all these points you will be working with. And this is to do any end user activity, which means if you want to create a master, if you want to post a transaction, if you want to generate a report, this is what you need to access. And if you wanted to create a master record, if you wanted to create a transaction record, if you wanted to generate any report, SAP is not ready to use application. When I say SAP is not ready to use application, let's say I have purchased SAP, now I have got the access to SAP. Assuming I am from a company called BMW. I am a user of BMW or I am a client of BMW. The moment I log into SAP, I do not find any information related to my organization or my company in SAP because SAP does not know my company related information because it is purely confidential data. It is purely confidential data. SAP does not know. SAP will receive whatever you tell to the system. So which means you have to set up all your company related information in SAP from the scratch. SAP has got no idea about your organization. SAP has got no idea about your business process. You need to set up right from the beginning based on your requirement, based on your expectation. Now, if you purchase the SAP, you are called as a client. You are called as the SAP customer or SAP client. Now you will be using SAP. For you to use SAP, SAP must be set up or SAP must be installed according to your business process, according to your business requirement. Based on your business requirement, you will not be able to configure SAP on your own. Your client will not be able to configure SAP on their own. They have to depend on some other organization. They have to depend on some other person to set up the system. These third party persons or this is some other person is normally called as SAP consulting companies, SAP partners or SAP consulting companies. You have to approach any one SAP consulting company. When I say SAP consulting company, let's say, So BMW purchased SAP license. Let's say BMW purchased SAP license. Now the moment BMW purchased SAP license, SAP has provided license permission, all the equipment to them, whatever the hardwares and all required. Now BMW wants to start using this SAP. For example, license, I'll say purchase date, I'll put, let's say August 2023. Assuming that in this month we purchased SAP. Now SAP is not ready to use application. I'll put SAP is not ready to use application. When I say SAP is not ready to use application, the moment I purchase, I cannot use SAP. It is as simple as like I purchased a plain system which has got nothing in it. I need to develop the system right from the scratch according to my expectation, according to my requirement. Now BMW will have to get the SAP configured or implemented based on their business requirement. Based on the business requirement, they have to get the SAP configured or implemented. Now, for implementing SAP, BMW will approach SAP consulting partners. For implementing SAP, BMW will approach SAP consulting partners. Normally, you have different companies who are SAP partners for the consulting. Like we take Wipro, Infosys, Deloitte, like that. There is a big list of companies who are SAP partners who will do the implementation or who will provide the support on SAP. What BMW will do? BMW will ask for quotations. BMW will call different vendors who will provide the SAP consulting services. They say that we purchased SAP, we want to implement SAP in our organization. Based on that, say BMW will request quotations from different consulting companies, different SAP consulting companies. When they call different SAP consulting companies, people from the different consulting companies, let's say there is something called pre-sales teams, will approach BMW to understand the requirement at high level. When I said high level, not in detail, just at very high level, in a broad way, they'll try to understand what is the requirement and what is your business process. You are using accounting, you are using manufacturing, you are using purchasing, you are using sales. Accordingly, they'll get to know the information, and this pre-sales team will pass on the information to the project management team inside their company. Accordingly, the project management team will schedule a call with the BMW and they will try to understand what is the requirement. They will give a demonstration that we are XYZ company, we are doing SAP consulting from last 10 years, 20 years. We are the leaders in US, you are the leaders in Europe, we are the leaders in Middle East, something. They'll give some presentation. These are all our customers, clients, all these things. They will give a demo about their company process and all. At the same time, they will also understand what is the scope of the work, what is the scope of project, which means what is the business process related to BMW. They will understand. Accordingly, they will give the quotation. Accordingly, they will give the quotation. When we say the quotation, they will tell based on the business process. They will come up with, let's say one company is coming up. Let's say Infosys quoting and Deloitte is also quoting. I'll say Wipro is also quoting. I'll say Tech Mahindra is also quoting. Likewise, there will be a list based on the company whosoever they have picked for finalizing. Now, based on this study, each company will provide a quotation. Let's say Infosys telling that we will implement in 1 year. Okay, Deloitte is telling we will implement in 10 months. Wipro is telling we will implement in 1.2 years. Tech Mahindra is telling we will implement in 8 months only. So each client or each company will provide a different quotation with a different pricing. They'll provide different quotation with a different pricing, and they'll provide that we will provide so and so, like we will provide support for 3 months for free of cost, or we will provide support for next 6 months. If you take support from us, we will give you at a discounted price. As usual, you have the vendor quotations. The same vendor quotations, the same vendor negotiations will happen even in the SAP project. This is all at very high level where we are not even involved in this. With your level of experience, you're not involved about it, but it is always better you get to know what exactly happens before you start a project. Once all this information negotiations completed, let's say that they have finalized Deloitte based on some requirement or based on some criteria, company has finalized that we'll proceed with the Deloitte. Now internally the management has approved to go ahead with the Deloitte for the implementation. Now they call it as the implementation partner will be Deloitte. They say that implementation partner will be Deloitte. Now until this project is confirmed, Infosys will tell that we have a project in pipeline. Infosys will start telling that we have a project in pipeline. Deloitte also will tell that we have a project in pipeline. Wipro will also tell that we have a project in pipeline. Tech Mahindra also will tell that they have a project in pipeline, because the negotiations, the discussions are going on with the client. They may get confirmed or they may not get confirmed. That is why they say we have projects in pipeline. Now, the moment project is allotted to Deloitte, what Deloitte will do, Deloitte will form a team. When we say Deloitte will form a team, they will allot or they will assign this particular project to a project manager. Now, before it goes to a project manager, now they will see this project is from which region. Let's say if this is an Indian project, for India there will be a delivery head. For India there will be a delivery head. Under delivery head there will be different project managers, solution architects and all. He will have a team who is going to work on the SAP implementations. Like there will be hierarchy from your associate consultant, senior consultant, lead, senior lead, project manager, senior project manager, solution architect. Likewise, there will be a hierarchy. Based on this hierarchy, the delivery head, whoever is responsible for this particular region, he will say that okay, this project will be handled by Mr. A. Now Mr. A will be the project manager. This project manager will have a team under him. This project manager will have a team under him, like he will be having set of FICO consultants, SD consultant, MM consultant and all. If he has got the available team members under him, he will pick the team members according to the availability. If not, he will raise a requirement, or he'll raise a requirement to the HR team stating that I've got a project, or we will be implementing one project for a big client, which will be a 10-month project. Now we need one FICO consultant, two ABAP consultants. Likewise, they will give a requirement. Based on the requirement, your HR or sourcing the team inside each company, they will be holding resumes of all the consultants, whoever is currently assigned to a project, whoever is currently not assigned to a project. Which means if you are on bench or if you are working on project, there will be a list with the sourcing managers or the recruitment team. So they will tell that currently we have, let's say, 10 available FICO consultants who are not tagged to any project or who are on bench. What I will do, I'll tell them to please share me the resumes. If I am the project manager, I will tell please give me the resumes. Now Deloitte HR managers will share the existing or internal resumes to me. What I will do, I will go through the resumes. Now this is not the original resume of yours. This is the specific company format, which I say internal Deloitte format resume will be there. Likewise, in every organization there will be a resume. When I look at that resume, I will see that okay, for my project I need a FICO consultant to have these skill sets. From that, let's say I'll pick okay, this consultant seems to be okay, he's having more experience, Based on your resume, I will pick. Now I will give a call directly to you. If you are a FICO consultant currently on the bench, I'll give a call to you. I'll say that I am calling from so and so project. Now we've got a project. Now I'll ask you basic questions. So this is nothing but the internal interview. This is nothing but internal interview or project related casual interaction with the project team or project manager. I'll talk to you. I will ask about your experience, how long you're with Deloitte, which project you previously worked. If you say that previously you worked for some other project, then I will ask who was your project manager. I'll make a note of it. Either I will call your project manager of your previous project. I will ask, how is this candidate? I'm planning to take him in my project. Is he okay or not okay? If I get good feedback, positive opinion, then I will say that, okay, please assign this FICO consultant to my project. I will inform the project team or the sourcing team that assign you to my project. Then you will be allotted to my project. Likewise, I will be picking a team of all the consultants, whoever is required. What is the number of team size that I want? I'll pick all the number of consultants. If available internally, I will take. If not, HR will pick the candidates in the market. HRs will pick the candidates in the market. They will schedule the interviews. Now, these are project specific interview. When I say project specific interview, I need a candidate to work in my project. Now HRs will schedule the interview directly with me, and if I am okay, I need candidate how urgent. Let's say my project is starting from September 1st. I want a candidate who can join before 1st of September. So my requirement is that I need a candidate who will be able to join me immediately. So in this case, what will happen in the market, you will get the positions, openings, where the consultants are available to join immediate basis or maximum 1 week or 2 weeks. This is the reason you will get somebody is asking, we are looking for a candidate who can join immediately, because they have immediate requirement. They want the consultant to join the project, which is an ongoing project or which is about to start. Now let's say I pick one consultant. If now my requirement is very urgent, I need a consultant badly to join me or to join my project within a week or within 10 days. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to interview different people. When I'm interviewing different people, let's say 2-3 people I found very good, they have good knowledge, good experience, but unfortunately their notice period is 1 month, or their notice period is 2 months, their notice period is 3 months. Now I do not have that much time to wait for 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. So even though you are very good, I have no other option. I have to go for other person. Now let's say in that queue, I've got another person. Let's say you've been in, I'm interviewing you, your profile has come to me, I am taking your interview. Now your profile has got shortlisted for a reason stating that you are immediately available. Let's say I take your interview, I see that you are okay, average, but not up to the mark. But I would have already interviewed a couple of profiles, and I do not have time to take interviews on a regular basis. I am also very busy. So what I'll do, I took 4-5 interviews. Out of 4-5 interviews, 2-3 people are good, but their notice period is very long. They cannot join on time. So straight away I am keeping them aside because they are not available according to my requirement. Now the remaining two, whatever I have interviewed, I found one person is not okay, the other person is average. Now no other option, I will pick the average person. Considering that, okay, I'll fine tune him, we will help him out. We have the senior consultants. It's okay, we need a consultant badly. Even though I feel that you are average, I will recruit you. Even though you're average, I'll recruit you. Now when I take you in my project, similarly I'll gather the whole bunch of the consultants based on the number of modules, based on the effort estimation. I'll be picking the team. Now once I finalize the team, that is when I will be starting the initial discussions with the client. When I start initial discussions with the client, we will be having a team meeting to understand that this is the project, we need to deliver the project, or we need to complete the project within 10 months. This is the client XYZ, or client is BMW. We will be implementing for India. This is a big project, and all the rules and regulations, whatever the information that I want to pass on related to this project, I will pass on to you. Based on that, we will be starting the initial discussions with the client and all. Once we start the initial discussions with the client, we will be understanding the business processes. At that time, as a FICO consultant, you have to sit along with the users. You have to be part of the different meetings that we are having with the client BMW. Let's say one day we will try to understand their overall accounting process, which system they are currently using, and what is the nature of business, what is the size of business. When I say, I will ask in a day how many entries you will record, how many sales you will create, how many purchases you will create, how many vendors you have, how many customers you have, how do you make payments to your vendor, how many payments you will make, on what frequency you will be making payment, how do you receive the customer payments, do you receive customer payment on a daily basis. So like this, I'll be asking certain basic questions to understand, okay, you have huge volume, and then I will be asking on a daily basis how many entries you will be recording, on a monthly basis, on an average, how many entries are posted. Your client will tell we post around 5,000 entries in a month. Another client will tell we post around 30,000 entries in a month. Another client may tell that we post around 50,000 entries in a month. Then accordingly, you are going to understand the nature of business, size of the business. Once you get to know all these points, then you will be having the detailed business process discussions. Like if I have, let's say, 2 FICO consultants or 3 FICO consultants, initially when we are talking with the client, we will be discussing about their existing business process. How many legal entities do you have? BMW, okay, you are operating only with one legal entity in India, or you have several legal entities outside India also. They may say that we are operating in, let's say, 60 countries, 60, and we have around 75 legal entities. Now you got to know that, okay, they are in 60 countries, they are operating in 75 legal entities. Now you will come to know, okay, currently we are implementing for India only. Now in India, let's say there are only one legal entity, or there is only a single legal entity, which is BMW Cars India or BMW India Limited. Now when you're starting to understand their business process, your key business processes like sales, purchases, finance, costing, all these points are discussed at BMW level. When I say at BMW level, I am representing your global template, or I am representing your overall business process. When I say overall business process global level, this is commonly applicable process, the commonly followed approach across BMW. When I'm talking about accounting process, whatever I follow, the accounting rules, whatever I apply, they apply commonly for all the locations of BMW. The way we produce a product, the way we sell a product, the way we purchase a product, the way we account our expenses, whatsoever will be the similar. This is called as your business process. Once we understand the business process, then we will talk about the localization. When you talk about localization, you will be talking about India specific. In India, what are the localizations that you are going to do? Which means localization, when you talk about, you are specifically talking about 3 elements. Point number 1, taxation. How taxes are determined, how taxes are calculated in your base country, which is India. You are implementing for BMW India, you need to understand how taxes are calculated in India. This is your localization object. For every country, taxation will differ. So this will be a localization object. In India, how taxes are calculated, you will understand. Second point, your fixed assets. How your fixed assets are handled in India. This is another localization. Third point, you have any specific reports that you have to produce, that you have to submit in India. So there are country specific reports if you have any, and then you have anything related to taxation, which is country specific. Anything related to fixed assets, which is country specific, you will be listing out the requirement. Apart from these 3, country specific requirement, country specific taxation, country specific fixed asset, the remaining is common business process applicable across BMW. This is where you call it as business process. You don't call it as country process. You call it as business process, commonly applicable for BMW business. Wherever they are operating, this business process remains constant. Once you get these points noted down, then you will be sitting with the different users, where you are calling them as core team members. You will be calling them as core team members. When you talk about core team members, he is normally a person who is called as SME or subject matter expert. Normally when you work in BPO, when you work in accounting domains, there will be a person called SME or subject matter expert or key user, power user, super user. There will be different names based on the different company, different industry. They use different terminologies. Whoever is senior or whoever is holding a good command, good knowledge on that particular business process, he will be called as CTM or core team member according to SAP terminology. You will be identifying the core team members from each business process. Let's say in accounts payable, who is the core team member, in accounts receivable, in your assets, in your taxation, banking, cash, fixed assets, whatsoever. And then you will be starting to discuss with them the detailed business process. Let's say you are sitting with the GL business process. What is your GL accounting, how you are managing your GL process, how entries are getting posted, what reports you are generating, and are there any issues in the current business process? Are there any issues in the current business process, or any challenges that you are facing, or any improvements that you are expecting in the business process? All these points they will tell that we are currently working in this manner. These kind of reports we are currently generating, but these reports we don't get from our existing system. We do manual reporting. All these requirements when you draft, and you are going to identify, okay, these are the current business processes. This is what they are expecting in SAP. So this is nothing but your as is process and to be process. When I say as is process, I am talking about the current or existing business process that is happening in the legacy system or in the current system. When I talk about to be process, I am going to talk about the process which will be followed once you migrate from your legacy system to SAP system. Currently you are doing like this, but in SAP, how do you want to use it? Do you want to use exactly the same way, or you want to use anything additional, any expectations you have, any problems that you are facing currently, which you want to rectify? Accordingly, you are going to do something called fit gap analysis. When you are doing as is study, you are going to do another point called fit gap analysis. When you do a fit gap analysis, there is something called SAP standard, there is something called SAP customized. When I say SAP standard, for most of the business processes, SAP will provide the standard business process, which is nothing but SAP best practice. When you talk about SAP best practice, it is nothing but most of the business processes across the globe, across the countries are already studied, are already identified. These business processes are already accommodated, developed in SAP by SAP, which means it is straight away. You can maintain certain settings, the process is ready to use. Now SAP will do the continuous research, continuous study on the various customers from the different industries and all the different business processes across the country, across the globe. They will try to accommodate in SAP so that they can sell it to the customers, which is a plug and play approach. Now like this, for most of the business processes, you will find standard SAP functionalities available. So for your requirement, if there is a standard configuration in the system, you call it as straight fit. You call it as a straight fit. When you talk about fit gap analysis, fit is nothing but straight fit. Straight away you can do the configuration which will fit according to your requirement. When I'm talking about gap, now your requirement is there, but in SAP there is a process, but there is some gap. When I say there is some gap, your expectation is 100%, but SAP standard is reaching up to 80% of your expectation. The remaining 20% to meet your expectation, I have to fine tune the system. I have to add additional functionalities to it. This is where I'm talking about gap analysis. Now I am going to fill the gap with RISEF-W object or with RISEF elements. There is something called RISEF object, RISEF element. Based on the RISEF object, based on the RISEF element, I am going to fill up the gap between your expectation and current or the standard SAP functionality. So where you are going to have the gaps and whether this is really required or not, we need to analyze. Otherwise your client will tell, for everything I need the alteration modification. Every alteration, every modification is not considered. Wherever possible, you need to make sure that you will convince your client to use SAP standard system. Wherever possible, you have to try convince your client to go ahead with the SAP standard, not to go with lot of customizations. This is one point that you need to remember. It is not that client is asking for a customization custom report, we will go develop it. It's not the situation. You will go for a customization only when your client requirement is unable to, your client requirement is something that you're unable to meet with the SAP standard behavior or SAP standard functionality. Only then you will go for a customization. Even when you're going for the customization, you're not going to do the customization from the scratch. You're not going to do the customization from the scratch. When we are not doing the customization from the scratch, what we will do, you will take the client requirement. Let's say he is asking for a report. Now, assuming that this report is not available in the standard SAP, you're not going to develop a report from the scratch. You will not develop the report from the scratch. There are a lot of reports related to your client expectation, related to your client requirement in SAP. You will pick a report which is more suitable or which is more close to your client requirement. There will be at least multiple reports which will match closely to your client requirement. You will show those reports. This is the standard report. Check if this is sufficient for your reporting requirement. Wherever your client can compromise that, okay, this is fine, the other thing is not so important, we can manage with this. So you will recommend that, okay, you can use this report for this requirement. For certain things, he will tell, or your client will tell, no, this is mandatory for us, without which we cannot complete our reporting. This is a requirement, or this is a report, or this is something which we will have to give to the management or to the shareholders or to the auditors or to the local authorities. Whatsoever they will tell, that they cannot compromise on this. In this format only data is required, or whatsoever is needed. In that case, you will pick something which is more closely matching to that requirement. From that existing functionality, from that standard functionality, you will customize it, so that you don't have to customize from the scratch. The existing functionality will meet at least 50% of the requirement to 90% of the requirement, whatever the percentage. How close the data or the standard functionality is matching, the remaining one you are going to customize according to your client expectation. This is how you are going to work on the customizations. This is how you are going to do the fit gap analysis. It is not that they asked something and then you develop something. How are you developing? You need to understand what is the requirement, whether this requirement can be met in the system with the standard functionality. For you to analyze it, first you have to understand what is standard functionality or what is SAP standard. So once you know what is SAP standard, accordingly you will try to match your client requirement. If it fulfills, fine. If not, you have to see what is missing in it. That one you will be adding it. This additional activity or additional fine tuning is nothing but your customization. And you will decide how many customizations are required. This is nothing but your RISE-F objects. Once all this is done, you get all the requirement gathered from your client based on each and every business process. That is where you are going to write minutes of meeting, or that is where you are going to write rough draft of the business process. When we say rough draft of the business process, you will not write the business process step by step in detail, because when you talk about GL, every company will use GL in the similar manner, minute differences. To talk about vendors, accounts payable, receivable, assets, cash, bank, taxation, it will be the similar approach with minute changes according to that particular company. What are the minor changes that you have? What are the specific expectations, requirements that your client is having? You are going to look at it. After that, you are going to prepare business process document. This business process, whatever you have understood from your client, you are going to prepare a document. This is nothing but your business blueprint or solution design document. You call it as business blueprint document, or you call it as solution design document. When you prepare the business blueprint document, or when you prepare the solution design document, this document is a Word document at the beginning. Every company will have a business blueprint format or solution design document format. This is as simple as, like, if you go to a notary shop, you want a notary to be done, and nobody will write the notary from the scratch. Nobody will write the notary from the scratch. For every notary, there is a format. Similarly, in every company, there is a business blueprint format. company specific format will be there. If you go for a notary to be written on your name, the person, the agent, whoever is creating the notary, what he will do, he will update your information in it. The rest and all is standard content in it. Same is applicable for your business blueprint. Don't assume that blueprint is a very crazy document. You will write everything from the scratch and all, as if you're writing an essay novel. Nothing like that. The simple standard document which will contain all the standard business process of respective finance functionalities. GL, AP, AR, everything is a standard functionality. All the names, diagrams, everything is predefined in it. Based on your client business process, based on the client requirement, you are going to edit, you are going to amend the existing business blueprint of a particular company's format to the client specific. So you are going to do the editing work there. You will replace the previous client name and then you will put this, and whatever is applicable for this client, you are going to accommodate that information. Once all this information is prepared, you are going to submit the blueprint to your senior. If you are preparing it, you will submit it to your senior. He or she will verify, validate the requirement and make sure that everything is fine. Only your client names are appearing, no other client names are appearing. Sometimes we forget to change certain content. So we need to make sure all these points are thoroughly verified. And then finally, once it is confirmed, once it is reviewed, you are going to send the initial draft. When we say initial draft, first version will be sent to the client. When you're sending the blueprint to the client, you will have to send strictly a PDF format. You will prepare it, a Word document, you will convert Word into a PDF format. This PDF blueprint document will be shared to the client, because if I send Word document, my client, you cannot expect that they might edit something. They say that no, this is not correct. So that is why, to avoid these kind of mismatches, to avoid these kind of points, you will have to strictly send a PDF document. Make a PDF document, send this PDF document to your client. Your blueprint can contain approximately 70 to 80 pages, up to 200 pages. It is as simple as like during your MBAs and all, you would have done a project where you would have done, some document, spiral binding and all, 200 pages, 150 pages. It will be the similar PDF document. Even if you Google, you will get lot of sample business blueprints. Even in real time, it will be the exact same document. Whatever you get when you type Google SAP FICO business blueprint, it will be the same document, exactly the similar. No changes in it. When you see a real blueprint, when you see a Google blueprint, it is the same. And this blueprint document, initial version or the first version, initial draft, will be sent to the client. Your client will go through the document. Definitely there will be changes, definitely there will be corrections, because initial draft is based on your understanding of different sessions that you had with the business users. You would have had discussions with the GL, AP, AR, taxation with the different business users, business team members. Consolidating all the requirements, you have prepared a blueprint. And when you're sending this blueprint to the client, you will not be sending to the end user. This will be sent to the client. In the client, you will again have a project manager. In the client, you will have a project manager. To the client project manager, you will share this blueprint document. They will review it internally. They will take some time, maybe 3 days, 1 week, 10 days they will take to review all the business processes, whatever they have discussed and whatever we are proposing. After that, they will come back with certain corrections. When we say they will come back with certain corrections, they may say that these business processes are listed incorrectly. This is, you have mentioned process A, but this is not process A, this is process B, and there is a slight changes in this. These processes are not included, and these processes you please add it. They will give some corrections, modifications. Based on the feedback that you received from your client, you are going to modify the business blueprint. When you are modifying the business blueprint, you will not modify the same document. You will create the same document as it is. You will make a copy of it. First version, whatever you have sent, will remain as version 0 or initial draft. After that, you will copy the same document. You will rename it as version 1. In this version 1, you have to add change management or changes, updates. Whatever the changes, corrections that you made from previous version to current version, you have to indicate. Otherwise, Again, I have to read 100 pages because you have already given me the blueprint. I have reviewed it, all the 100 pages. I have given certain corrections. Now I want you to give me the revised document. In the revised document, please mention what changes you have made. Where are those changes? Page number 40, there is a change. Page number 70, there is a change. Page number 95, there is a change. So that I'll go to those pages. I will make sure whether the processes that you have updated are correct or not. Likewise, until I agree to your business blueprint, you will be sending multiple versions. Version 1, 2, 3, 4 until it is approved. If it takes 20 versions, you will be preparing 20 versions of business blueprint. All the 20 business blueprints you must save. Once you receive the approval from the client on the business blueprint, that is where you are going to start the system configuration. Once the blueprint is approved, you are going to start the system configuration. When you're starting the system configuration, you have to prepare certain documentation. When we say certain documentation, based on the blueprint, you are going to prepare documents like, from the blueprint, you are going to prepare KDS document. Initially, you will be preparing KDS document, which is nothing but key data structures. When we talk about key data structures, we are talking about the basic org structure, naming conventions that you are going to follow for your BMW or for your client. What is the company code? How many legal entities are there? And what is the address of it? What is your chart of account? Like whatever the baseline config, whatever the key configurations that you have, those names and identification codes you are going to discuss with the client, and you will freeze it. Because when you're configuring this, every time you cannot decide which number to be given, and you cannot go for client discussion to update on this. So to avoid all these points, at the beginning itself, we will freeze this org structure or the business process, and along with the names, identification codes, you will prepare a KDS document. This KDS document is also approved by the client. They say that, okay, one legal entity, this will be the code, this will be the name. One chart of account, this will be the code, this will be the name. They will approve it. Once they approve it, this KDS document will be shared with all the consultants. Now that is where you are going to start your configuration. When you're starting your configuration, you are going to do the configuration based on business blueprint document plus your KDS document. Based on the business blueprint, based on the KDS document, you will start your configuration. Let's say you are configuring GL module, AP module, accounts receivable, taxation, asset accounting, banking, cash, etc. In each of the process, in each of the module, there are a lot of transaction codes given by SAP. Because SAP is not specific to India, SAP is not specific to BMW. SAP is a global application. Same application, same screen is visible to any customer, any user across the world. Now there may be a particular functionality, there may be a particular transaction, there may be a particular field which is relevant only to a selected country or which is related to a specific countries. Now when you look at SAP, don't see it from your client perspective, see it from your SAP point of view. See it from SAP point of view. It is as simple as like you are taking two of your friends to a buffet. One is vegetarian, the other one is non-vegetarian. Now ask your vegetarian friend to go and pick only vegetarian food. Tell your non-vegetarian friend to go and eat whatever you want. You cannot say vegetarian friend that this is a non-vegetarian buffet, you please go out. Because there is vegetarian food also which he can eat. Similarly, SAP is also a buffet. Everything is available, all functionalities available. Whatever is relevant to you, whatever is applicable to you, pick that one only. Don't look at that, this is not relevant to me, I don't want this, please remove it. Not possible. If it is not relevant to you, don't use it, don't look at it. Because SAP has not created any screen, SAP has not created any functionality keeping you in mind. SAP has created everything, every functionality keeping all of their clients in mind, which means the global clients in mind. Because SAP is selling their product in India, in US, China, across the globe, they're selling the product. It is the same screen, same program, same functionality. Whatever is relevant, whatever is applicable for you, you are going to adopt it. Whatever is not relevant, not applicable, you will ignore it, right? So it is not possible that your clients may tell that, no, this particular field is not required to me, you please delete this, I don't want to see this. Not possible. If you're not using a particular functionality, you cannot remove it. Only certain things you can remove it. Most of the things are not possible. You need to tell your client, if this is not applicable, ignore it. We cannot remove it because this is not your specific one. Now you have to also understand how your client reacts to the system, how your client is understanding, because initially whoever is getting into SAP, nobody will be happy. Majoritarily, most of the people are not happy with SAP because SAP is not user friendly. SAP is not user friendly. Most of the people whoever get into SAP in any project, no user will be happy with it. Everybody will tell, no, this is very tough, very difficult. It is taking a lot of time. It is not straightforward. A lot of confusion is there. Nothing is coming from the system. In my previous system, we used to do everything just with 1 click, 2 clicks. Now SAP is not like that. SAP has got a lot of limitations. SAP has got a lot of restrictions to do anything. Now you need to make sure that your users are okay with the system, they understand how to use it, and it is your responsibility to make them understand, to make them feel comfortable. So how you will convince your user, how you will make them understand, it is your consulting skill set. Right now, whatever you are configuring, if your user is telling, no, I don't like this, this is very difficult, it is taking a lot of time, I don't do this. Now if your users are giving negative feedback like this, your client will tell that, so what kind of a training you are providing, our users are not happy. Which means it is the responsibility of your project team, it is the responsibility of the respective consultant to make sure that users will understand. Accordingly you need to train them, accordingly you need to explain them. So this is one of your skill set that you have to develop as a consultant. Once you get all this information, once you start the configuration, you will be starting the configuration. When you're starting the configuration, your configuration is based on the business blueprint, is based on the KDS document. When you're configuring KDS document, when you're configuring system based on blueprint KDS document, you are going with the configuration in a sequential order. First, you are going to set up baseline config. When you're setting up baseline configuration at the beginning, your org structure will be set up. Your org structure will be set up. As a FICO consultant, we will be doing the first configuration in SAP because you need to create a company code, different other parameters, so that based on this, the other module consultant can start their config. Other module configuration is dependent on FICO configuration because everybody will do for BMW. BMW is nothing but a company code in SAP. Company code is created by FICO consultant. So unless and until FICO consultant creates the company code and the associated settings, relevant settings from generic SAP point of view, from the SAP org structure point of view, once you set up the other modules like ST, different other modules, they will start their configuration. Once your baseline configuration is completed, you are going to start business process configuration. Once baseline is completed, you are going to start business process configuration. When you're talking about business process config, we are talking about GL module, accounts payable, accounts receivable, fixed assets, taxation, cash accounting, bank accounting, like this. Now in each of this business process, you would have collected the requirement, how GL module is currently followed, how they want to use it. Is it standard SAP GL functionality, or there are any additional functionalities that they have requested? Similarly, in accounts payable, is it their standard, is it SAP standard business process they are using, or they have requested for any customization process? Similarly, receivable, asset, taxation, everywhere. Based on that, you have to decide what will be the transactions, what will be the relevant screens that they will be using for this particular business process in SAP. For example, if I talk about GL, from the GL point of view, you are going to create GL master. How GL master will be created? How many transactions you have in SAP to create a GL master? Similarly, you will be posting the transaction. How many screens you will be creating the GL transactions, and how do you display the document, how do you correct the documents, what reports are available. In SAP, if you look at it, there are a lot of screens. If I go to SAP, let's say if I go to general ledger module, in GL I have document entry. In document entry there are a lot of transaction codes. Similarly, if I go to document, here there are again different transactions, parked, reference document, lot of things are there. Are we going to create, or are we going to provide all this screen access to the client, or only the selected functionalities? Now that you have to understand what is the business process, what is the expectation. To meet their business process, to meet the expectation, what screens, what. So this identification of a transactions screens, you are going to prepare another document called BPML, which is nothing but business process master list. When you're creating this business process master list, this business process master list is a document which contains the transactions to be created or the transactions screens to be used for executing that particular functionality. For GL, what transactions are applicable, for AP, AR, every module. Your BPML in short contains end user related area. What are the master data related screens? What are the transaction related screens? What are your report related screens? These three relevant information you will include in BPML, and based on the BPML document you are going to create the test cases or test script. Because once you complete your configuration, next thing is to do the testing. When you're testing, what are you going to test? Now I've got a lot of screens here. Am I going to test each and everything? If I test everything, my testing itself will take 3 to 4 months, because you're not giving the complete system to the client. You are giving system according to their expectation, according to their business process. When we are giving it according to their expectation, according to their business process, we need to make sure relevant or the respective transactions functionalities are listed out in your BPML. Based on that, you will prepare the test cases, test scenarios, and these are tested. And once you test all these test cases, test scenarios, then you will show the business processes to the user. When you're showing it to the user, you will be testing along with the user, which is nothing but your unit user acceptance testing or UAT. In this process, there are different phases. Now these different phases are based on which method you are adopting for your implementation. Normally, if you are implementing for SAP ECC versions, we will be using ASAP methodology, which is accelerated SAP methodology. Now, if you are implementing for your S4HANA versions, majoritarily we will be working with Activate methodology. We need to understand what is ASAP methodology, what is Activate methodology, what we will do as a FICO consultant in each of these methodologies. Like this, when you do the configuration, everything, and for your project, there is something called project guidelines or project timelines. Once you start the project, you said that you are going to deliver the project in 10 months. If I'm starting the project in August, I'm going to say September I'll start, September to 10 months. Let's say I am going to provide or I'm going to hand over system to the client in the month of June 2024. Now June 2024 will be my project go live date. According to, I need to write the project deadlines or project timelines. This is nothing but a milestone. When I say milestone, so I need to achieve, let's say at the end of first month, I should have completed my requirement gathering. At the end of 1.5 month, I should have completed business blueprint. And at the end of fourth month, my configuration must be completed. In fifth month, testing will be completed. In sixth month, we will complete training, user acceptance and all. In seventh month, we will be uploading all the legacy balances and all. In ninth month or in the 8th month, we will deliver system to the client. Likewise, your project manager will prepare a project charter or the project timeline, in which he will list out everything based on the sequence, based on the phase wise. And they will have to monitor on every month, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. There will be calls with the client, how we are proceeding. whether everything is going on time as expected, or there are any delays. Are there any challenges that you are facing? Anything you foresee that this might cause an impact, this might delay the timelines, we may be going live a week later because we are not getting the support from your users, or the requirements are frequently getting changed. Maybe anything could be the reason. If you foresee anything that will affect your go live date, you have to give a heads up upfront to the client. Now all these points are the responsibilities of your project manager. Once they consider everything as expected, let's say everything is gone smoothly, you've completed everything, on the agreed date you have to deliver system to the client. When you are delivering system to the client, you need to make sure all the legacy data, all the legacy balances from your existing system are converted or migrated into SAP system. This is nothing but your cutover. You have to take the cutover or the legacy data from the old system, existing system, and move it to the SAP system. In short, opening balance uploading. You have to take all the closing balances in the current system, take closing balances and put them as opening balance. When you put closing balance of current system as opening balance in the SAP system, they can continue the business process. And once you complete all these activities on a particular agreed date, you will conduct a small get together which is called as go live function or go live activity. In the go live, what you will do, you will gather, your consulting team will gather the client, the key management or the key shareholders will join. Somebody will process the first transaction, which will be the sales transaction. First sales entry will be created as go live, and when they do the sales entry, there will be a cake cutting, they'll go for a party or lunch dinner. They say that the project has gone live. Once your project has gone live, from there you will have to provide hypercare support. Whoever is completing or whoever is doing the project, they will be providing hypercare support either for 1 month or for 3 months. This is mandatory. Once they complete the hypercare support for 1 month or 3 months, after that your project of implementation will get closed and the project of your support will get begin. Once the implement project is completed, then they will have continuous support project, application maintenance support or annual maintenance support. People use different terms. The support project will continue. They can either go with the same company who implemented SAP for support, or for support they can opt another company which is quoting less amount for the support. It depends on the company, it depends on the client, whether they wanted to proceed with the same client for support or they wanted to proceed with some other company for support. Now this is how you have to understand, you have to see before you do any configuration what happens. At least 10% if you understand, that is more than enough. Later on you are going to understand, we will be discussing during our sessions where what will happen, what points we need to understand. But keep in your mind, everything you will be working, everything you will be doing based on the business process, based on the business requirement. So you have to pay attention on what is the requirement, how you will get the requirement. Based on the requirement, how are we configuring this? While doing configuration, is everything straightforward? Or if you face any problems, what kind of a problems do you face? How do you solve the problems? These points we need to understand, we need to learn during our practice sessions or during our regular classes. Clear? So we will be starting to discuss about BMW business process. We will list out basic KDS, what is KDS, what information we are going to create, how we are going to configure our company code. From tomorrow onwards, we will start initial discussions and we will list out KDS document. Based on that, we will be starting to do our configuration for BMW company code in HANA 2021 version. Make sure everybody is able to log into SAP with the same user ID and same password. Same user ID, I mean from that range, you can pick any user ID. Make sure you use the same password. Do not change, do not log the password, so that the others will not affect, others will not suffer because of the IDs are getting logged, passwords are getting changed. Because you cannot monitor, I cannot monitor which ID is locked. Whenever you find any ID is not working, notify me immediately so that I'll get that ID unlocked or the password is reset, and we will share the passwords, revised one, in the group. clear?
Sir, I didn't get what you said in the last. What is that ID and all you said, sir?
The user ID for practicing SAP. So I have shared the user IDs passwords, right, in the group.
Yeah, AJ 012 AJ 50.
Correct. So those IDs and with the password that I have given in the group, use it. Please do not change the password because we will be using commonly all the IDs. Every ID will work with the same password. So whatever the ID is
Yeah, okay.
available, you can pick and then configure. Any ID you can continue your configuration. It is not like I did configuration from different ID. Continuation, I have to do it in the same ID, not required because it is the same server. You can continue your configuration from any ID.
It will be auto linked, right? Even though
Correct.
if I create company in AJ01, let's say if I create assign company code in AJ02, so will that not be a matter and all, right?
No, that is not a matter.
Okay, sir.
Hi, sir.
Excuse me,
But
sir.
what about 1909, sir? Because I've created another company using USD currency to just to check. So
No, if you
since
are creating it is fine, but it is better you configure everything in 2021 only, so that whatever we do, I will be showing a complete setup in 2021
okay,
only, not on 1909.
okay.
Okay, so that
But
it
if
will
I
be
if
easier
I
for you
want
to
to
configure.
yeah if I want to create another company by stating USD currency or USD country, I can create, right?
You can create it. Whatever you do
Okay,
it in 21 only, preferably.
okay. Let's say I'm going to create two companies in 2021 server only.
Right.
Okay.
You can create as
Okay.
many as you can, depending on your the timing and all.
Okay. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Excuse
Okay.
me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, while doing the implementation project, we'll be doing implementation for FI and CO, MM, and SD, right? So if we have 4 5 modules, we have to implement in that particular client. How many FICO consultants, how many SD, how many MM consultants will be there? And one more thing, as a 4 or 5 years experienced consultants, at what level we will be involving from the beginning of the implementation or at the business blueprint level or realization process or like that, sir.
Okay, these points I will be writing when we write the KDS and all. That time I will tell what will be the normally size of your project team, how many consultants will be there in each module, how many consultants are available, and what exactly we will do with our level of experience. We will list out everything.
Okay, one more thing, sir. For example, in F5 we have submodels, 5 6 submodels are there, right? A GL, APA, like that. As a FICO consultant, we have to directly go to our virtually or directly to the core team members of that particular client, and we have to gather the information, right? For example, I allocated to AP. I have to meet the AP related users, and I have to gather the information relating to the AP related items, like that, sir. Is it
Correct.
right, or
No, yeah,
seniors will
correct one.
go on?
It depends on the project. It depends on the company where we are working, because you have a lot of companies who will do SAP consulting. Like you have startup companies, you have level 3 companies, level 5 companies and all. Depending on the company where you are working, the work style that you are adopting will differ. So these
Okay.
points I'll be explaining in the upcoming sessions when we start writing the KDS and all. What you will be doing if you're working in level 5 company, if you're working in mid-size company, if you're working in a startup company, what will be the role where you are involving. All these points I'll clearly list out.
Okay.
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 Hi, sir. I have one clarification, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you said the gap analysis call and then blueprint. So for preparing blueprint, we need the some knowledge of the company, whether it's support or implementation process, what they are going to do or what they have done in implementation process. For that, between these two, whether we will be sharing any questionnaire by asking how many company codes they're maintaining, what is the asset process, and what is the payment method like that, or bank, whether it's a check payment or whether they are processing in XML format by any interface between bank and our system. So these type of questions as a FI consultant, what we need to ask before preparing blueprint to the particular client, whether it's they are coming for a support project or implementation project. Based on that,
So in every company, there will be a standard questionnaire documentation. The same documentation, the same questionnaire will be sent to the client first. The client will fill up that information based on their existing process, and then they will send to us. Accordingly, you will come to know the scope of your project, scope of the work.
okay. So in that question, is there any important point that we need to highlight if it is missed in our existing organization? Can you
No, this
point
is
out that?
not something that we will prepare. This is the common questionnaire at the company level. Let's say if you're working for Deloitte, Deloitte will have this questionnaire. Whoever the
Okay,
project, that whatever the project that you're doing with any client, you will be sharing the same questionnaire. Whatever is applicable to them, they will tell this is applicable for us, this we are using. If it is not relevant, they will put on the document that this is not applicable, this we are not using. Otherwise, what will happen? This becomes an assumption, correct?
yeah, yes.
So this will not be there. You will give the complete list of questionnaire. So this is the common template from the company side. If you're working from Deloitte or Infosys, wherever, each company will have this questionnaire based on each business process, based on each functionality. And your client, if I am your client, I have to put an answer to your question and then submit this document to you, correct? Tomorrow
Yes.
later on, if there is any mismatch, if there is any, the misunderstanding, and I will show that we have already given the questionnaire. In this, you have mentioned you are not using this. So since you said you are not using it, this is not part of the scope. Now, if you need it, then we will include it, but this will be at additional cost.
Okay.
Additional effort is required for this because we have not estimated this functionality or this effort in the previously supported or in the previously provided cost or whatsoever.
Okay, sir. So if the questionnaire is not available, they are, if I say, if I consider, if the manager ask me to prepare the FICO questions, what are the questions that need to be sent to client? So on what the type of questionnaires I can write in that questionnaire details. Whether it's if they come for implementation project, what is the version which they was the ERP they followed earlier, and how many modules we require support. So like that questions we can prepare.
Correct. So you will be preparing with respect to that business process only. If you're talking about AP, in AP, whatever the sub functionalities that you have, with respect to that sub functionality, wherever you feel that this can be different, you will put a question. Let's say, how are you making payments? Checks,
Yeah.
how do you print check? Do you print check manually, or you want system to print the check automatically? You are paying, let's say, bank transfers. How are you transferring the bank transfers? Are you sending payment files to the bank automatically through any interface, or you want to send the payment file to the bank manually through an email? So these points you will be putting as a questions, and all these questions are commonly available with every company, whether it is a small company or a big company. This questionnaire is available.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, Sonali, you have a question?
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask what all clients we use for training, like client 800, client 400 is also part of that.
Yes. No, this client is something which is created by the people who maintain the server. Now the server, that whatever I have shared earlier, I have given client number 400, correct?
Yes.
Now whatever the client number that I am telling you to use, it is 800. Now I got a new client created which is 800, in which only our users will be available.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Okay. because client 400 is their shared client. Shared client in the sense they'll be giving the same client different user IDs to different people. But in this client, only our users are available. No other users will log into this client.
Okay, I got it. Like who all are tagged under you, correct?
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Okay, okay, got it.
Hello, sir.
Sir, hello.
Yes. One sec. I'll go one by one.
Hello, sir.
Ivang, go ahead.
Um, you did in the last previous videos, you did made a you did say that we are going to be creating our group currency due to the clients due to the what is on the clients. Now on this new system that you've given to us, I realize that the client currency is in euro. So moving
We are
forward, are we
going
going?
to change it to dollar. So when I start writing the KDS document tomorrow, we will freeze all these things, and whoever practice whatever the company code, these common parameters I will list out. Those are not supposed to be changed by anybody.
Okay, because I went to the ledger and I realized that every currency on there is mapped under euro.
Because this is the German product. By default, when the client is created, it is tagged as euro only, client currency. Whatever the currency that we want to use as a client currency, it's a one-time change. You go to SEC4, you update it. Since it is a dedicated client for us, unless we change, nobody else will change in this.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll put these instructions. We will list out all the guidelines tomorrow, so that whoever is practicing, their practice, their settings will not affect the other person's setting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So one thing we are like SCC4 will be handled by basis consultant, right? In
In
real
real
time.
time, correct.
Yeah.
Yes, Ramesh B.
Yes, sir. Actually, as you said, our BMW operating in 60 countries, like 75 company entities. For example, I am going with like here, like example, assume in Qatar, my business size is low, transaction flow is low, so I am going to start with the Qatar implementation by using that for BMW global template and all. So that is Qatar is called as like implementation. Apart from Qatar, what are the 74 entities? Can we call it as rollout projects or how it will?
Correct. Rollout only. You're right.
Okay, thank you.
Normally, when you do any project, you call it as phase-wise implementation, because BMW is a big client. They are operating in multiple countries with different legal entities. Correct?
Yes.
So when we say phase-wise implementation, I call it as, let's say we are going with 5 phases or 3 phases. In the first phase, I will tell we are implementing 10 company codes.
Yes.
In the second phase, we will start rolling out from the second phase onward.
Okay, maybe okay. Except like not only Qatar, we can include five company codes in the first phase also. Like
Correct. Those are all part of
okay,
your implementation.
okay, phase one like X2 migration, like their name convention, they will name it, right?
Correct. So during the KDS document, we will update all the naming convention logic. For every company code, the same KDS document will be followed with the naming convention logic.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, as you told that there is two types of configuration. One is baseline configuration that is starting from company code creation up to before GL master creation, and another is business process configuration that is starting from GL master creation to up to report level, means TV,
Correct.
PNL, and balance sheet. Am I right, sir?
Right.
There is only
Correct.
two types of configuration, not more than that, right? In FICO.
Correct.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Any
the
other
YouTube
questions?
access which you have given, right?
Yeah.
Is it for permanent, right? When we can see those videos after, I mean, after we complete the course, and then
Yeah, you can
after
use it,
1 year. So
yes, yes.
I mean, what I would say that course. So what I would say that YouTube channel will be there for long, right?
Right. Even after you get the job, if you want to continue, you can still continue my classes. I don't put any such restrictions. You're always welcome to learn, attend, and increase your knowledge.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. If no other questions, let me stop the recording.